Taihodoki, like body escapes. Tai is body, Hodoki means like to escape. So anyway, if you can immediately get sink and open your hands up so they never connect. That's kind of ideal, right? Then create some space. Yeah, Uke should have his head turned, and then everything goes back, right? Then you can just strike real quick and get out. So if he gets locked in, which is worse, immediately sink and get some space between your hips. And we have momentum to do the strike with your hips, your head, your hands simultaneously. Right? If it slides up, like he doesn't really have a hold of me, you don't have to break the grip. Get out. Also, it's, I guess on a more advanced way of looking at this, is where his arm position is. Right? So you can grab tight. But all I gotta do is lift, and I'm out. Right? If the person grabs you like around the shoulders, if you just lift your arm, you're practically out. You just have to be aware of him trying to choke you from that point. But, go ahead. So around the elbows is where it's best for him, worse for me. So sink to get some balance. It'll make it a little bit harder to pick you up. Create some space between your hips so the hips strike back, the head strikes back, and the hands explode forward. So, right? He's tall, so I don't really get the grip broken, but I've got him off of me. Right? He doesn't really have control of my body. You can keep it. You can keep it. So in this case, I feel it and just escape. Right? So sink. Right? Bam. If I do that and you still got a good grip, but it hasn't broken, then you can put your hands through if you need to and break it that way. Strike, find him, get out. Okay? So that's the basic. Help weaken it. And then the rest is normal. So play for a couple minutes with different options. You know, once you get free, like the basic is just escape. You know, if you're really good at the basic, then you can start playing with it. So, like, first level is escape. Next level might be like you have it, and you get there, and then you do something with it. Right? That'd be the next level. But I'd say avoid getting fancy, like doing a throw or a control technique. The most important thing is the escape. That's why it's the basic. And especially because you can get to turn and face and see what he's doing. Right. Oh. Play around with it for a couple minutes. Just hit it. Like, if you start to look, it might give the impression that you're going to hit it. Right? So, don't look at it. It's like people with target glance for cops. If they get their weapon on that side, I was talking to him on Bond, he looks down at it, and then looks right back up. Like, he should notice. Yeah. Right? Or, because a lot of times people will give away where they're going to hit by looking at it. Oh, boom. So, you can hide it by, not looking at it a little bit. It's more, coach I think is more sophisticated than that, but that's a low-level version. Really slamming me, but that might happen. Or he's trying to control me to move me somewhere. Right? Maybe he's expecting me to be semi-compliant. But like if you're actually fighting someone and he comes around to grab, you're like he comes to grab that guy behind me. Because I didn't see it. It's hard to get a link of anyway because my hands are already up. He might get something like this where it's like one in and one out. Maybe. Right? So try to get him off of you and move. Maybe use him as a shield and get out. But like most fights that I've seen, it's been where they get under the arms around the waist and then pick up. But this does have to practice this.
Like even if someone's trying to stop you from fighting,
Yeah, it might be your buddy trying to keep you out of a fight, which, if you have a friend in a fight, don't hold them back. Because all you do is keep them from defending themselves. So if the other guy's like, if Duncan's Claude's Duncan's buddy, and Duncan and I are about to get into it, and then Claude's like, no, Duncan, don't do it. Thanks, whack. Then I can just go ahead and hit him. So if you're out with your buddies on Thursday night and on tap and having a beer, and something starts to happen, don't try to hold people back. You got to trust that they have enough maturity to not get into like a monkey dance type fight. Right. Usually. So anyway, next one is around the waist. It gets under the arms. So this one's tough. So immediately sink, and I recommend having a foot behind and a foot in front, so that you can press with your hips away to create space. Press with your shoulders against them, right? And then work the fingers. Once you're out, quick hit, and then find them, right? Because I need to get down, because the danger of him picking me up is pretty, high. So I keep that, work the finger. If you're grabbing a finger, what I like to do is put your fingers together, cup onto his hand, and you'll find a finger, just peel one finger off, right? Don't try to get 4 or 5. Don't try them all. Pick one. And any one will do. Thumb through pinky. The key point for Taihodoki is, and pretty much any counter grappling, is create space and then break the grip. All right, try to create space from their body, because that stretches their grip out, sort of, and you break the grip and you escape. So don't lean your weight all the way on, because he may just let go and back out and you fall down. Right? So have this foot behind in case he slips or he starts to fall or he lets go. You still have some balance. Right? Also, don't recommend bending over to try to find this, because now you've taken that space away and you let his hips get to yours, he can start to pick you up. Right? So expand it, stretch out, pressure over the shoulders, and your hips are away. Find the finger, rip it off, quick strike to make him think about things, and you can get out. Okay. So that's kind of important. We were doing a technique over the weekend. Okay, my jacket. I can do the jacket. So we're doing a go through technique, and the attack is the bad guy does Senkaku Jime, and so they're you break the grip and you do an arm throw and throw them over your shoulder. And so people were going in and doing like this. And this the grip, you can't do that. You have to do a different technique, because the idea was to get this arm loose and then you throw me over, right? But the kata calls for Senkaku Jime. So they were doing Hidaka Jime. Hidaka Jime is like naked choke. You don't use the cloth at all. Senkaku Jime is you come in, you grab the cloth here, and then you constrict. Right? Like in this, it doesn't work so well, but if you had like looser sleeves, you could get enough slack in the material and it actually work really well. Right? So, like as the uke, you have to be able to attack well. Anyway, so I'm getting I'm getting away with my hips. If his goal is to pick me up and he still wants to pick me up, go ahead. He's got his hips close and then he picks me up. And then slams me. So, here if he goes to pick me up, just walk to maintain the distance while you work his grip. And that's one reason this foot is behind, in case he starts to move forward or back, right? As I work the grip, quick strike, and get out of it. So, a couple reps, Bad guy, move in to pick them up, but good guy, maintain the distance between your hips. Hook. Hook the leg either inside or outside. Just depends. Like, I can feel where his leg was, so I hook on the inside. Typically, I'll end up hooking on the outside. Preference or opportunity. But you have to be aware that that's going to happen, or that that's a strong possibility. So you create that lock that's hard, makes it hard for him to pick you up. On the other side, here, so you don't have to work so hard, pick up a Braxton. So you're going to have to lift my fat butt. Okay, so he hooks. Can you hold that for a second? Yeah. Okay, so he can kick his leg out and down, right? No, like kick out like that and swing your arm or leg down. If you know what I'm saying. You're trying to create momentum to make him tilt forward. Right here. So hook to make him come down. He may have to do it a couple times until he gets there, and then luckily his grip broke in the process. Cool. Alright. But that's one way you can get your body back to the ground. The hook helps as well because it'll keep you from being lifted up too far. But if you do that, you have to know that as they're picking up, they may pick up so strong and the hook locks in that their grip may break while they're picking you up and they just drop you. So if you're getting picked up, you have to know that you may land on the ground. So I've seen people where they just focused on the hook and didn't think about, whether he pulls so hard that he rips his own grip apart or he's just sweaty or bloody and it just slips. But they end up falling on their knees and falling down, like prone position on the ground. So as you go up, you have to know, have that foot there so you can catch yourself, right? And then you just go back to getting the hips out. And it's going to be really tough for him to pick you up a second time. Plus there's all the strength he expends by trying to pick you up, right? So as soon as you land, you're back on the ground and maintain distance and breaking the grip. But also, like, if you're picked up, immediately start working the grip. So it gets a little, I guess, cognitively challenging because you're having to focus on 2 or 3 things at once. So give that a shot. Alright, because the idea is he's fighting, but like you're my buddy and you have a sword, and I restrain him and you cut him down. Right? Or you got a spear and you open up the armor so that all the weak points are exposed. So the weak points are like under the armpits and around the waist and the neck. Plus the legs. But if I do this, I open up those points, you come in with a knife and you stab him to death. Right? Or disembowel him. So you do have, so if that was a thing, you had to know how to defend it. So for modern times, it's like going to a full Nelson. And if you do end up training, like to get out of the full Nelson, safety point for the uke is don't interlace your fingers. I have seen people who got it on and the person collapses their elbows fast and they actually dislocated their own fingers. Like, because the knuckles locked up.
Made that sound.
So, if you do it from the full thing, just hand over hand to be safe. Anyway, if you do get caught in the full thing, and you can say, yeah, you're here, because a lot of times I'll press your head down, like try to strain your neck, is try to press against your own head, push your head back, as well as sink. And that creates a little bit of space, and then break the grip. But slam your elbows down. Then grab, because feel which one is the strongest or the weakest. Go for the weak one, right? Quick hit, and spin out. Once the grip is broken, it's basically the same as the rest. Better is to sense it early. Drop your weight, cinch your elbows down, find the hands, push them out so you can get out of there. Okay? Pretty simple. So this attack is also in a Gyokuru kata, and we did it on Saturday. And so we're talking about getting the kyusho, which part of it is having enough hand strength to do, or finding the weak point. How's that?
That's pretty good.
Okay. But it may not be enough, right? So you try it, it's still too strong. Take the other hand, get it started. And what people were doing at the seminar is like they were getting here and they were doing both, and then they were going and doing this twisty, like a juji nage. But that depends, like if you're stronger than him, right? So what's better is to move yourself away from the arm you're escaping, right? So instead of just trying to push it out, move yourself away. Once your elbow's inside, then it doesn't matter. Then you can move. Do juji nage. So try it with the Kyusho, and that guy can variate, like how strong, to give you a little bit of like it not being so scripted, right? Sometimes just move, because sometimes it happens like if we're here and I'm attacking, I may be moving with this, right? And he's got to figure out where to go, instead of it just being like, oh, and just doing technique, right? There's always like movement. So, and that's another thing, like if I end up focusing too much strength on one, I may inadvertently make this one a little weaker, and he goes for that one. Right, so I did kyojutsu to myself. I'm like too focused here and I forget about this. So, Kyusho first. If it's too strong, then switch your hand over and help you. But then also move away from that side, right? Extend and then move back through. Okay. The transitions was tricky. Right, and that should be enough to like stun him for a moment to give you time to come here. Right, so then here. So as you come across, pass it off, but have this guard up, because that'll give you the hand. And once you get under it, you don't really pull this one down. You push this one up, right? All right. And maybe you twist a little bit. So it's, and when I first saw it, it was like, boom, boom, and I was like, okay, like that would never work, because like it doesn't fit in, like everything should like slide into place. May have to change sometimes, but it's really the pressure of this arm against this arm, not the other way. Like I'm not pulling, I'm pushing. So even if I push that way, it's really the push, right? So try it slowly. Let this catch, and it just sits in place. Like if you train, like so, if you're at the seminar and since they came over to you and offered a tip or something, maybe it was just a physical thing, but like he gave me a few tips, but the deeper thing was under that. It was like there's more that he wants me to work on than what he verbalized. So one is for me, like, don't be so aggressive. I gotta be a little less mean. So check, and you have to use your it's like a finesse. So if I'm avoiding the first one, right, just check, and this second one starts to come, right. If I do like this, where I lean out, that gives him an impression and gives him a chance to come around and hit me, right? Because he'll just chase me. It's like a predatory instinct. So move, Like it's not even, you're not even like trying to hit, you just runs into it. Right? But you have to move in a way that's got enough finesse that it doesn't look like you're avoiding. Right? It just looks like I'm going to get hit. Right? So it feels kind of quick. And then it's like, ugh! Right? Then you get cool things. But, like, that's, like, it's really important. And, like, if he taught it to me, or he told me to work on that, then everybody has to work on it. Because that's where the efficiency is. And what I'm realizing now is, like, if I don't work on that and I don't add that in, it'll always be like muscle versus muscle. Either the other person might be stronger, or eventually I'm going to get too old and I won't have any strength, much strength anymore, right? You should stay in as good a shape as you can, but your techniques can't rely on like speed and power. Like if you're doing that, like that's a very low level of Budo. Right? It's got to be, it's the strategy that does it for you. Like that's the whole point of martial arts, is allow someone who's weaker to defeat someone who's stronger, or at the very least survive. So if you're trying to fight someone who's stronger or faster with strength and speed, you'll always lose. You have to use strategy. So like I guess on a very basic level of strategy is use a weapon, because it can even the odds. But even then, what if your weapon is ineffective, right? Or your weapon breaks, or you drop it, or you thought you brought your weapon that day, but then you realize you didn't, right? That's the danger also of like carrying every single day. Like if you carry your weapon every single day, I'm not saying don't. What I'm saying is like you can't rely on it. Like don't put your faith in the weapon, because it may be a situation where you can't get it out. Or if you do, you just escalated everything. So if you pull your knife out, like it's life and death. Or you pull your gun out, it's suddenly life and death. Not just for you, but for the other guy too, right? So, because the thing is, if you carry every day and you place too much importance on that, then that's what you'll depend on, instead of your own strategy, your own skill. So it's like I never carry it if I go out drinking. Mainly because it's illegal, right? And two, what if I do get into a fight and I'm a little sloppy? I don't want the guy taking my weapon, right? Maybe I'm not as skilled because I'm a little drunk. So I don't want him to be able to fill my hip and me not notice it because I don't have my full wits about me, and then suddenly he's using my weapon against me. Hopefully that makes sense. Like, don't depend on it too much. You hear this from people all the time, you should take a self-defense class. Well, I'll just shoot the guy. So that's like too much faith in a weapon, in a machine. Like you're placing your life into an inanimate object. And usually the people who are saying that are the people who don't train. So they're not even putting their faith in their skill. They're putting their faith in the object itself, which is foolish. Right? So, if you do carry, you have to train with it, right? But like, especially, even with a gun almost, but especially like knives and tactical pins and that sort of thing, your taijutsu has to come first. And your strategy has to be there. Right? It's already difficult, so the strategy helps you make it easier. So you have to use these subtleties of, not like hitting when you may think you're going to hit, right? Or just checking. And then just labor into it because this doesn't appear like a threat. Right? Like we were doing that weird technique with the shoulder check over the weekend where you're coming out and you're like checking the shoulder. And I noticed myself was doing this a couple times. That gives him the impression that I'm about to attack here. So you had to keep it loose, like don't make it look like a threat. And then that's where you could, or I think it was something like this, and you hit the guy. But if you like made a fist, he'd already know it was coming. So you keep it loose, and then you I forget what the technique is, we'll get to it eventually, but you do something and then pop. So he doesn't, it's like less obvious. And then hit the weak points. So, right. So you're pressing against that one, not pulling this one. Just like we did it this way.